A problem doesn't disappear simply because you pretend it isn't there. I will repeat myself. A problem doesn't disappear simply because you pretend it isn't there. Welcome to Amaka Intellectual Factory, where I host podcasts and many other interesting stuff. So today, I'm going to be talking about P. Diddy's scandal and the open secret of Black American human trafficking. The United States of America and the world really at large suffers from a pandemic of human trafficking. It is pretty obvious that those taking part in this abominable sin against humanity go far up to the highest people of authority. That is the only reason there seems to be a deliberate neglect of the severity of human trafficking. So, unless you are living under a rock, then you must have heard about the very disturbing allegations against P. Diddy. So, apparently, the recent allegations started with Cassie, P. Diddy's ex-girlfriend. She used to be very popular in the early 2000s. You would know her with her hit songs, Me and You, and Long Way to Go. Those used to be part of my favorite songs too, back then. So Cassie filed a lawsuit against P. Diddy that involved her being forced by P. Diddy to engage in intercourse with other people and to do other humiliating things. Now, in that lawsuit, at some point, human trafficking was mentioned. P. Diddy settled her claim so fast it drew the attention of people and caused even more people to come forward with other disturbing allegations against P. Diddy. For a while now, P. Diddy has been in the spotlight for many terrible things. It didn't start with Cassie. Not too long ago, Mason Betha, who used to work with P. Diddy, was in the news with his own allegations against P. Diddy. P. Diddy's ex-bodyguard, Gene Deal, and Jaguar Wright, a singer and songwriter, are speaking up with very upsetting allegations as well. And it doesn't stop there. Many other people are speaking up as well. The allegations evolve around intercourse without consent and trafficking. So now you get the gist. There are many trending news. However, when news on human trafficking trends, it will always get my attention because this, in my objective observation, is the number one problem this world has. And America, as beautiful as it is not immune to it. I know this because of the level of harassment, torment, financial attack I have suffered in Los Angeles. People have to be warned. This is a major problem, especially as more and more evidence show that even law enforcement is actively protecting people who engage in human trafficking. This is not Amaka speaking. This is a fact which even Nancy Grace has identified it as a dangerous epidemic while discussing a case of human trafficking where a young white teenage girl went to watch a game with her family and was lured by a young boy into the hands of human traffickers. The police were not encouraging and frankly were acting suspicious. It took the family engaging the help of private investigators to find their daughter, who had already been passed around by human traffickers. This is an actual news report that I saved somewhere. I will look it up and post it here for those interested in the actual story. I also remember a popular Nigerian radio personality by the name of Daddy Freeze hosting some Nigerian women on his YouTube channel where they were talking about human sex trafficking in the US, and Daddy Freeze couldn't believe it because whether intentionally or not, he hypes and pushes the idea that the US is heaven, paradise, and this message is very dangerous to the young, impressionable minds of Nigerians and Africans at large. Because the West, as organized as it may seem, can be very hostile. There are many untold stories of African immigrants who have met their worst nightmares in the West. And because back in Nigeria and Africa at large, there are people constantly propagating the idea of the West being a paradise. The suffering of those ever-increasing number of African immigrants are drowned out by this destructive message that has pretty much formed an echo chamber. So now you see African YouTubers who have never traveled out of Africa making comparison videos about how the West is more civilized and lenient as opposed to the uncivilized and crude Africa. It is a very dangerous message, but I will touch on this sometime in the future. And if you must know, that video of Daddy Freeze interviewing some Nigerian women on human trafficking in the US was removed either by Daddy Freeze himself or YouTube. Not too long ago, a movie on child trafficking was released. The name of the movie is Sound of Freedom. I saw the movie. There was absolutely nothing inappropriate about that movie. You could take your children, especially teenagers, to see the movie. Yet the backlash that movie got, including from women, shocked and broke my heart. This is to let you know that very powerful people really don't want the average person to know about the severity of the human trafficking pandemic ravaging our world in its many different forms. Now back to P. Diddy's scandal. Understand this is bigger than P. Diddy, and that when you are talking about human trafficking, you are looking at something that has its roots in celestial realm. You are looking at various male cults and their practices. I'll say that again. You are looking at various male cults and their practices. This is deep. It is my conviction that way more people are in bondage, slavery today than ever before. But my focus in this video is on how human trafficking is ravaging and wrecking Black America without mercy. And many of the perpetrators are people you and I look up to and admire. All of this is interconnected. You really should follow my series on the origin and source of monitoring spirits, spirit spouses, and their targets. I was working out at the gym yesterday, and they were playing P. Diddy's music almost back to back. What was that about? I'm not gonna lie, like pretty much everyone, I enjoyed his music. In fact, I was such an R. Kelly fan that his scandal didn't stop me from listening to R. Kelly. Neither am I gonna say that I wouldn't listen to P. Diddy's music again. I just thought it was weird that they played his music almost back to back at the gym. I'm glad I had my headphones and my music and didn't have to rely on the gym's music to motivate me to work out. It was just weird, that's all. But Black America does have a very serious, disturbing, unnerving prostitution and human trafficking problem. It is dangerous to be a Black woman in America because of this prostitution and trafficking problem. So when you see P. Diddy in the news and associated with this, understand that he is merely a manifestation of a much bigger problem. What is being revealed to us is a network of evil that has been in the shadows for a very long time. And mind you, he is not the only celebrity that has allegedly engaged in these crimes. You will be very saddened to realize that a lot of your favorite celebrities, politicians, and businessmen are knee-deep into this evil. The type of experience I have had and continue to have in Los Angeles, to a much lesser degree now, I have to point that out, is what that has drawn my attention to this issue. My heart breaks for a lot of Black Americans because too many of them are victims of this evil, and they can't even get justice from law enforcement because a lot of people in law enforcement are part of this network. Not too long ago, it was in the news that 4 Los Angeles sheriff deputies died by deleting themselves within 24 hours. I don't know if this monitoring spirit thing and trafficking is worse in LA because I remember someone telling me about a lady in Indiana, a Nigerian female immigrant, who was complaining about the same thing. People monitoring her, following her around, gang stalking her, targeting her, including financially. Anyway, it was in the news that 4 Los Angeles deputies deleted themselves within 24 hours. But no sooner was this news broadcasted did it disappear. What did these Los Angeles deputies know? What did they do? I have my own scary Los Angeles police stalking story as well. So much so that when I was at a parking lot, one of the Los Angeles police officers used their cars to block me. I still remember this experience, and I will share it later on this channel. They followed me home. It was really scary. Things are happening, and you will do well to be aware of these things and how to protect yourself and your loved ones from this evil. Because if no one tells you about these things, when these malevolent people come after you, they will get you. Many of your celebrities are into this, not just P. Diddy, as alleged by many. We are in a dark age, and we have been in a dark age for a very long time. I don't mean to scare you, but just as I started this video with, I will say again, A problem doesn't disappear simply because you pretend it isn't there. Let that sink in. That's all I have to say for now. Until next time, take care of your lovely selves. And remember, life is beautiful and worth living.